Hey everybody, this is Holly. Welcome to another video. Tonight we're going to focus on how to trim out the displaced frog stay and the periople rope in between the heel bulbs. And I didn't even know that was that until I talked to Linda about 3 weeks ago. And it's really cool how some things have converged. And I feel like we have like everything. It's so exciting right now how we have so many tools now. Like, I feel complete with what we need to restore these feet with Linda's latest hoof chat was fantastic yesterday. You guys have to check it out because she did a really great rendition at the end of the hoof chat showing where the frog is going to come and how it's going to come back. And that was the piece that I needed in my mind. I've been trimming out this piece that I have marked in red here and then down to here for since she told me like 2 years ago, mm, maybe even no, she told me like 3 years ago. She said, make a mechanical central sulcus. Okay, this is old information, okay? But that's what she said. She goes, make a mechanical central sulcus right here at the base of the frog because she felt like that little groove was important to get the heels to spread apart. So I started doing that. I use a knife and she uses a grinder. So I have to kind of translate what she's doing into what works for my set of tools, right? And so she's inadvertently taken this whole thing down with her grinder and like no problem, and I'm not. So I like have figured out, I figured out along the way on my own with the knife that if I trim out this flap, and I called it the bat wings, but actually it's more like butterfly wings than bat wings. So, butterfly wings. I figured out if I trim that out, that I would get a big release going between the bulbs, and the horses would have a big pain relief from it. They would gain great pain relief. And so I was just doing this, and I thought that this was something that everybody else knew as well and was doing. But I think now that I'm looking at this whole thing, that it's going to really get more clearer now to everybody on what we're doing and what's going on. So people have been asking me how, when they use, people that use knives, how to trim out the back in between the heels there and like especially right in here, and how much to take off, how deep to go and all that. And so for you knifers out there, I'm gonna go over that, and because it's really important. It ties in with Linda's new discovery. She just figured out that this piece right here, which I call the butterfly wings, is actually a displaced frog stay. And I've been wondering about this for like 2 years. I've been like, okay, so if we cut this out, what's the frog stay then? How do we know when the frog stay is coming back? And how do we know when to leave it? And how do we know when to not trim it anymore? And how do we know when we've done enough separation with the bulbs where we can let all this stuff grow back? Well, guess what? I feel like I know now because of Linda's latest dissertation that she has explained to all of us in the last couple of days with her hoof chat. Everything just kind of like clicked for me. And I'm so excited. Super, super, super excited now. So I feel like I have a vision and I'm more confident. And of course, Linda might change everything again in 6 weeks because now she's exploring if the frog really is required to support the foot or not. And so who knows, she might, revolutionize everything again in 6 months. But as of today, this is our latest and greatest. And let's go with what we know for today and be confident because it is definitely working, and it is definitely, definitely, I feel, super key. So let's get into that. And I'm going to first show you my video that I did tonight. Now, this is like I said, this is half in the dark. It's bad quality, but it's better than nothing. So let's watch that to start off with and go from there. Listen, I'm holding the light. Let me hold a light here. Okay. So right here on his foot is where I'm going to trim this spot right there. there's a little ledge right there. See that? Let's see right there. You can see there's a triangle. I'll mark it after with a photo, but right here, there's a triangle piece and a triangle piece. Okay, that is the displaced frog stay that should be back at the hairline that Linda discovered should be back at the hairline. Now, I have just been trimming it out, just thinking, I don't know what's going on with it. I just knew when I trim it out, it makes a huge difference with the horse's bulbs. And this guy's actually got a space that's kind of becoming a permanent space now between his bulbs, which is great. And so, like, a lot of times you'll see, like, right here, there's a little spot right in there that I'm also going to get right there. There's an extra little layer. So, then see, now you can really see the flap. Okay, so I'm going to go under that flap with my knife. Then I'm going to take any little spot that is in between the bulbs, like there's a little bump right there at the hairline, that little bump right there. I'm going to take that out too. But you have to go really shallow in here. If you don't go shallow in this area, then you'll hit blood. I know from experience. Okay, so I'm going to cut those out right now, and then I'll show you the after picture because I have no one here to hold the camera. So I will show you in a minute. Okay, he is being totally laid back today. This is helping me so much. So, okay, so now I trimmed. You can see now where I cut out. See that? So I sliced that out. Now, on a lot of you guys' horses, it's going to be all the way across, and you're not going to have a groove here. But I've been doing this with him now for like 2 years, so I don't know how long, but anyway, a while. Consistently, at least for, since spring of this year. So he's getting a nice groove that stays in there, and his bulbs are really starting to settle back down here. But you guys might have nothing here, right there, nothing there. There's no gap, so no crack. So when you open that up and create a mechanical crack, that relieves all the pressure inside the back of the foot, and it just makes everything go, like I always just say, I just feel it going like I'm letting some air out of the tire. Now see, there's a little teeny nubbins right there. You can see that little nubbins. Put his foot back. I'm going to cut that out. So I'll show you that in a second. Okay. The one thing I did forget to bring out here was my glasses. So I'm doing the best I can here without being able to see everything super clearly up close. But there, you can see I sliced that out in there. Oh, so there's still a tiny bit of a nubbins left right at the hairline. I am going to try to get that little bump out because it just bugs me. It's just like my new pet peeve. Like, I'm just taking that out because it's going to help everything spread apart. And if you have one of those, make sure you get it. So I'm going to take that out right now. Okay, I got that out. I'll show you now. See? Now it's all cleaned out. See? There's still little nubbins there left that I have to take out. See that? Right there. See? You don't go very deep, but oh my gosh, does it make a difference? Just clean that out in there. So we've got heel bulb, and no other crap in between. You keep your heel bulbs clean, people. And then this stuff here, I'm going to clean that up a little bit more too. He hasn't been done for a long time, so he's got, his whole foot needs to be done really bad. But I was just showing you the first thing here that I was going to do today. So you can see how that's just, if you get those out, so you'll see the little flap right here and a little flap right there, and it'll look like it's stuck right down to your frog, unless your foot is super clean and moist. Okay, so hopefully this helps. Oh, and as far as how I cut goes, I'll see if I can emulate that right now without the best lighting, but let me grab my knife and just kind of fake it here and show you. So what I do is I take my knife and I cut, okay, hold on. There, I cut like this, down to the middle, and then I go on this side and I flip it back up and I go like that. And then sometimes I come back from this side, I flip my handle and I go this way. And I just seesaw like you're cutting shoe leather. Okay? And then for this part, I just put my knife down in the groove, and then I just sliver back and forth just a little bit, down, sliver back and forth just a little bit until I get that little piece out. So that's how I do it. It's just like cutting shoe leather, just like this. Just see if I can get some light on it here. My phone doesn't want to go in focus because it's nighttime. I'll try to do a better one in the daytime. My phone, for some reason, doesn't even want to focus right now. Okay. Okay, now here's the other foot. I added a little bit here. Okay, here's something I forgot to address in the first video. Um, when you are trying to get this area right here trimmed out, you'll find that your knife hits the foot like that, see? So it can be hard to get in there. So what I do is I pick up the foot and tilt it so that I can get my knife in there. And sometimes you have to go from this way if you can't get a good angle with the way the horse is moving. And horses are, when they're new to this, they are gonna wiggle around when you try to start cutting in there because they're not used to the feeling of you doing something in here. So it might take them a little while to get used to it. So this is my gelding's second foot I'm on now, and you can see the flap right there. It actually flaps up a little bit, right? Let me see where it is. Feel it right there. Oh, I already cut it. Sorry, I forgot I just cut it. It's right there. So look, I can just do this one-handed practically. You trim that down and make sure there's a split between the two flaps and get the other flap here. Here's the residual of the displaced frog stay right there. And this is working its way up to the hairline. This one's a little bit more bound up than the other foot I started on. This is foot number 2. You can see his bulbs go up a little bit more right here. So I've got to make sure I get this spot opened up right there for him. And he's got 2 little white grooves. See those little white grooves? I'm going to take those out right there and right there. Okay? Yeah, we're going to take those out. Okay, here's something. Okay, so hopefully that helps you guys. And I had a couple of pictures ready to go in my downloads. Hold on, let me go get those. Okay, this is the first thing I wanted to show you. This is the same foot. Let's see, the left, this is April of 2023. This is when I first started trimming out in between his bulbs consistently. Look at how smushed up they are. Look at how narrow they are compared to the width across the quarters. You see the bulbs, how skinny they are? Do you see how wide they are now? Look at the difference. Is that amazing or what? I just looked at that myself. I just happened to find this when I was going through pictures to show you guys. And I'm like, oh my God, I did not know it was that much different either until just now. That's why we take pictures, people. But look at that. Look at those teeny smeeshed up little bulbs. And look at that big piece. So this piece, this is the frog stay. You know what I'm getting here? Oh my God, I just figured something out, you guys. On Lana, my mare, that I never got to finish restoring all the way because she passed away last summer. I couldn't find the butterfly flaps. Okay. Like here, I couldn't find the butterfly flaps like I can find here. You know why? I just figured it out. She was so smushed in, and some of you guys might be like this. She was so smushed in that the butterfly wings are actually smushed into a skinny little smushy thing here. Oh, my adjectives are so no, they're so good, aren't they? Smushy thing. Okay. That's the greatest adjective ever. Okay. Maybe I could think of a better way to say this. But look at that. The bulb is so smushed together that the bat wings or the butterfly wings are actually a tiny little skinny little nubbins thing. Is that weird or what? That's just crazy. I know this is really bad lighting, but this is just enough you can just see. I mean, this is amazing. This is twice as wide as this is here. Wow! This is so great. Unbelievable. And then of course you've got this, curvy coming down in thing and all that happening. These curved in way, smushing, pushing into the frog. Everything is just so smushed inside there. And he was never even lame. This horse has never been lame. He's been able to, well, one time, he was off on the front right on the 3rd day of a camping trip because I didn't understand yet. Nobody in TAC did. We were just learning how to unbind that. We didn't even know that unbinding the back of the foot was a thing. And so he was off because I bound up the foot mechanically by taking the toe to the right part and not opening up the back of the foot yet. So pre-opening the back of the foot was the only time this horse has ever been lame. He goes on gravel. he trail rides, barefoot. So, but anyway, just like that even. I mean, he's that far contracted and he's still not off, but every horse is different. So anyway, there you go. Wow. Wow. Okay, next pictures. Okay, so here's another view of it. So when you're trimming the foot and we're holding up the foot, here's the heel bulbs. Look at those slanty heel bulbs. Oof da. This is Lee's horse Falcon, who's on the YouTube channel under Falcon. And we're gonna do a new video on him really shortly. He has gone from this to being in a dressage clinic. He was in a dressage clinic with Lee last month, I think it was. And oh my gosh, did they do well. Wow. He's amazing. They're amazing. He did so well, and she's going to continue on with more and more with him, and he is consistently staying sound now, and anyway, it's huge. But we'll do his video as soon as she gets me new pictures in about a week. So, here we go. There you go. Another view of them. See, now, sometimes I get a little confused whether they're this big or they're all the way over to this big. But you'll usually be able to see her once again. Her foot was so contracted that the bat wings, the butterfly wings are so smushed in. The displaced frog stay is so smushed in that it looks like there's little teeny nubbins. So you got to cut that thing out. And you might think, oh, I could just cut one side and leave it, but really it's attached all the way across, but it looks like it's, there's a crack. So you really got to clean out well in there and make sure this is really, really, really being able to spread. And then of course, down to here, trim that out. That's the shallow part. Trim it out, baby. Now, until you're restored, of course. When you're restored, you'll know it. We'll try to explain that at the end. Linda's going to be explaining it over and over and over again on the group because it's the biggest thing right now. I'm sure you'll see her see it, talk about it all the time, but she made this great explanation of what the frog's going to do. But I need to have the different view here of the foot before I could explain that to you in here. So if I don't have one today, then I'll refer you to the hoof chat from December 24th. The last third of it, she really gets into what the frog's going to do when it comes back after. So what basically I could just tell you mechanically, this frog stay here is going to move up to here and be up at the top, and then you're going to have a permanent gap between the bulbs. So the bulbs will be way more straight, and you'll have a space right here, and then this will be at the hairline, not at the top of the frog. So instead of being at the top of the bulbs, it'll be down at the hairline. And then the frog itself will come back and fill in all this space. And you'll have this humongous frog like the wild horse picture that she shows us all the time, where the frog just fills up the whole back because it comes back to the proper position. But right now, we're trimming that off because our frog is not in the right position yet. And if you trim all that, or if you leave it, it will bind the foot. So you know how it is, just like that game with the 9 boxes. And you got to get them back in numerical order, 1 to 9, right? It's the same thing as that with the foot. You got to keep everything moving and pliable and movable at all times. Okay, this is the last picture I wanted to show you in this video. Sometimes you'll have where I call this like an acorn. It looks like, I don't know why I call it an acorn. I don't know, just reminds me of an acorn when you see it on a horse's foot because it'll have like grooves around it and it's triangular and domed shape. So it does look like a little acorn stuck in the foot. This is the closest picture I could find to one of those because everybody I've been talking to, has been trimming this out. And so I don't know whose foot this is. This is somebody sent me this, or I saw it somewhere. So you might have this right here. This whole thing, no groove, and you'll get this big dome-shaped nubbin thing. This is like the little thing that I was just trimming out on Jazz, a gelding. It's so pulled up from the hairline that it's so out of place from the hairline that it's way up in between the buttresses, the false buttresses. If you get something like this going on, I have found this is from horses that have like well, no one's ever trimmed it out. So it just grows like that. Like if you never trim it out, it'll just get this big acorn thing right there. So you have to get underneath that. You'll just, I see one of those. Oh, I just cannot wait to get at it. I'm just like, get me my knife right now. Get that thing out. And you slice it down to the frog and back up again. And when I say to the frog is you'll get down to healthy frog tissue. You'll know that you've gotten it out because you'll see the beautiful clear frog tissue underneath that, under it. You know, you'll get to, I don't know if it's frog, I guess, but it's like a clearer colored tissue that you'll see because the frog might be up here. I'd have to get into that more in more detail. I always just think of it as I'm cutting out that displaced frog stay, and below that is frog, is what I always think I'm seeing. So cut that puppy out right there. And then with this foot, after I cut that out and open that up, so I would slice and dice, you know, like shoe leather, slice, 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 slice from one side, back to the other side, pull it up with my finger and my hand, and then snip it off right to there. And then I'd see what I have underneath there. And then I'd analyze this. I'd have to see this from a different viewpoint, but this is probably right here. Also the grooves that need to be cut out. This is probably that displaced frog stay right here and right here. So I'd probably cut that out as well. And that's kind of the whole acorn thing, actually. Like this thing will become a groove through the whole middle of that sometimes. That's kind of what's happening. And if you see that, that's probably that your foot has been left untouched at that spot forever, or you've got really bad slip foot syndrome where like the foot has put all that there to hold the capsule on because there's been so much leverage with the toe being really long and the heels either being really run forward or being cut too short and the toe being left way too long and the pillars being left way too long, for too long, for way too long. And so the foot's just like, oh my God, I've got to try to stay on. And so it just builds up this really thick and everything gets pulled out of place and the periople grows over and it's just a mess. So if you don't open that up, nothing can go psh, right? You gotta relieve that air pressure with the tire. Here's the tire gauge right here, the little nubbin, what do you call it on the tire? The stem. Here's the stem to the tire to the inner foot. This is your stem. You gotta open your stem so the inner foot can go. Psh, thank you. Now I have someplace for this anatomy to be. Because let me just talk about that quickly. What's happening? What is causing this pain and pressure in all your horse's feet? Okay. So what it can be is inside the foot, you have all this pressure happening down inside here. And this is Judy's foot. I'm sure she's okay with it. She just posted this today on the group, and I just happened to have it in here because we were discussing this foot tonight on the group. Try to make this larger. So what happens is, and she's working on cutting out her flap. She's got a little flappage here, little flappage there, little flappage there. So trim that piece out, trim that piece out, and trim down to here, trim down to here. This is a oh, you can actually see right here. There's a flap and there's a flap. So all that, get in there with that knife. This is a pre-trim photo, so this is when the horse needs it done. So what happens is we fix the front of the foot, right? We start mapping pillars, toe, pillars, quarters, heels at 2 inches. And we get all that mapped and trimmed, and we get trimming all that, and it's all good. And it starts to look better, and everything starts to stand up, and the horn tubules stand up and come back. What happens is you get major pressure inside underneath here. If you can drill a hole to the center of this foot right inside here, you are going to have pressure built up because everything inside is getting smushed. Unless you open up the back of the foot. You have got to open up the back of the horse's foot as you are getting the rest of the foot in order. You just have to. Otherwise, your horse is going to have all this pressure and they're going to want to stay off their heels. Every time they stand, they're not going to want to walk heel first. They're going to walk toe first. They're going to rock back when you try to trim them. Everything's just going to be really bad. So you have got to relieve this area's pressure and let these bulbs go psht, and spread out, psht, spread out. When they spread out, it gives this inner anatomy underneath in here a place to come back and a place to be. So it can go, thank you, now I can get out of the way. So the inner anatomy or the front anatomy can come back and the back anatomy can come back. You get it? If you don't open up the back door, then you are going to smush all the furniture into the center of the room. So that is why it's super, super, super important to do bars, heels. I mean, really everything. And I did not know this. Like the first, let's see, 2017, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. The first like 6 years I did tact, I didn't know anything about the back of the foot. So, hey, been there, done that. But that's because we didn't know a lot about the back of the foot back then either, like tact as a group. We were learning all this and we all bound up everybody's feet for like 2 years. And then Linda figured out, once again, she always leads the way with her research, and she figured out we got to unbind these feet. We got to figure out how to do the back of the foot, right? And now I'm just obsessed with the back. Like it's just, oh my God, I cannot trim without doing the back of the foot at the same time as the front. It's just you cannot you cannot say one part of the foot is more important than the other when you're trimming. You just can't. Everything is equally important because it all moves together at the same time. So, okay, well, that is this video. Hopefully, if you have any questions, put them in the comments. And thank you, Judy, for letting us use Annie as a model here. And like I said, go see that hoof chat from 1224. The last third of it goes into the explanation. Oh, that's what I was going to tell you. Okay, so the frog. So you can see from this view that when Judy's horse's bulbs don't swoop up like this anymore and they're more straight, and she's got a permanent gap in here, and then this displaced frog stay can be back up here at the top of the hairline. So it's got to move back maybe an inch, right? And be back here. And she's got straight bulbs across. Then what's going to happen is this frog, like Linda explained, and make sure you always get your apexes. Like I said, everything is so important at the same time. That you get this frog to come back. What's going to happen when the frog comes back, it's going to fill up prolifically. You're going to have like this huge frog. It's going to come out to here and around straight and come out to here and around straight. Now, can you imagine how comfy that's going to be for our horses to be able to be walking on that, right? Like comfy, comfy, comfy. They are going to be able to just go. That's how those wild horses go over all those sharp rocks, right? They've got a big, thick leather cushion that's taking care of all of that. Okay, well, there you go. That's everything for tonight. Enjoy.